Please raise your hand if you are planning to go to college. And could someone please volunteer and tell them what college they're going to in their intended plan? Sophia?
Yes, I'm going to college. I'm going to PATHA, Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. That's right up the street. And I'm going for illustration major, also minoring in painting, and I'm going to get a bachelor's.
Nice. Anyone else? Ramik?
I'm going to Hofstra University, which is in and I'm going to be majoring in public relations and law studies and minoring in music technology.
Awesome. Please raise your hand if you think college is too expensive. About almost every hand. Can someone please volunteer why they think college is too expensive? Anyone? Juliana?
Everybody knows that the careers available to us straight out of college don't pay a significant amount, and it's definitely not an amount to even begin to supplement the amount we have to take out for loans.
Right.
Like it's a big deterrent for most schools, and yeah.
I agree. Please raise your hand if high school prepared you for college. Oh, there's not a lot of hands. Can someone please volunteer and explain why they think maybe high school helped them a little bit or not at all? Ramik?
I don't know, especially going to Kappa, I feel as though I've been like exposed to like a new, I guess, sort of environment of like kids that I would probably like would not have been able to like interact with like if I would have went to maybe like a Catholic school. So I guess this experience was something that like I learned a lot from and that I grew like from like a lot. So
Charlie?
I said that high school has helped me to develop a foundation, but it's sort of lacking in teaching me how to apply the foundation that I learned in college or the real world. You know?
The real world.
Kind of something like that.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with me. We touched a lot what we think about the education system. And as current high school seniors, we spent over 10 years, at least 10 years to get this far. And for most of us, we're going to spend at least another 4 years in higher education. We have to check requirements and qualifications to apply to such universities. And for most of us, we have to pay at least thousands of dollars for this college education to earn our diploma, to gain the skill set necessary to tread our own paths and become our own definition of success. That's what we ideally believe, though, that we think that education is this great equalizer. But we, in future use, will face obstacles within today's education system. Traditional college has been the go-to route for many high schoolers. It's a place where we can learn academia. It's a place where we can learn theories and concepts to understand our world. And it's a place where it offers a variety of interests and studies to choose from. But vocational college is heavily underlooked. It's a program designed to provide students the technical skills needed for their discipline. It pushes students to directly operate in their soon-to-be profession, ultimately giving them the experience they need to work on the job. Well, how well does a bachelor's degree at traditional four-year college prepare students for post-career success, rather than a vocational or trade program can? The bachelor's degree underprepares a majority of students for post-career success because it increases their potential for financial bankruptcy. It leads them to misinterpret academic credentials for experience and fails to teach practical skills outside the academic realm. Please raise your hand if you are paying for college. Put your hands down. Please raise your hand if you are worried about the cost of college. Please put your hands down. And finally, please raise your hand if you are not fully sure how to pay these costs for college. Thank you. Please put your hand down. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the full-time undergraduate cost in 1985 and 1986 was about $10,696. Fast forward that to 2010 and 2011, we've had about $19,912. And fast forward that to 5 to 6 years, we've had about $22,432. Let's put this in a bigger, let's scope this into a more detailed picture. In 2015 and 2016, according to the report, for public institutions, the average yearly cost was about $16,757. Compare that to not-for-profit, we get about $23,776. And put that in nonprofit, we get about $43,065. Let's say, put this even more in a hypothetical situation. Stack that upon 4 years with that number. For public institutions, I'm paying an education worth $67,028. For-profit, $95,104. And nonprofit is $172,260. Education is becoming more expensive every year because college is becoming the more common route for high schoolers to go straight to after graduation. What does that mean for us? According to Georgetown's University Center of Education, they predict by 2020, not too close, that 2/3 of all jobs will require some sort of post-secondary education. Since students are going to college for a bachelor's degree, employers are requiring most prospective applicants to acquire at least a bachelor's degree under their resume. But for a portion of students that want to up their resume or distinguish themselves among other applicants, they feel that attaining a master's degree will make them look more of an expert. What about a higher degree? These students think that attaining a degree based on prestige and value is success. This is known as degree inflation because we're not going to college for the sake of education, but we're going to college for the sake of attaining a paper based on how well we know about this subject. Look at Brown University. Their acceptance rate for class of 2023 was about 6.6%. Columbia University, a rate low of 5.1%. Cornell University, 10.6%. Dartmouth, a record low in history, 7.9%. Harvard, 4.5% record low. Princeton, 5.77. And our local university here, University of Pennsylvania, has a record low recorded in all-time history of 7.44%. As well as Yale University, 5.91%. Why are these colleges becoming so selective? Why is their selectivity rate so low? I argue that since everyone is attaining a bachelor's degree at a traditional college, students believe that going to these prestigious universities allow them to give them an upper advantage to distinguish themselves among other applicants. Is this the same with other countries outside America? Let's compare the universities, the elite universities in China to America's. Tsinghua University, located in China. Could someone please raise their hand and guess what acceptance rate the university has? Any stabs?
How about 2%?
2%? Anyone else? Victoria?
I'll give 10%.
10%? Pretty low. Any other hands before I reveal the acceptance rate? Ramit? 13%? Tsinghua University has an acceptance rate of 0.1%. Estimated about 0.1%. Let's look at another university in Peking University. Located in China. What do you guys think the acceptance rate is here? You guys think it's higher now? Jessica?
0.5%.
0.5%, pretty close. Maisie?
0.03.
0.03. Ramit?
0.2%.
0.2%. Man, we're getting to decimals here. Okay. Peking University has an acceptance rate that's also about 0.1%. Let's look at a university in South Korea. One of the most prestigious universities known as Seoul National University. Let's have another guess.
0.01%.
0.01%. Wow, South Korea education must be tough, man. Anyone else? Nick? 0%. Yeah, it's just not accessible to anyone. Not at all. It's just there. It's 0.5%. These acceptance rates are still extremely, extremely low. Why are these universities so selective? Well, it all comes down to prestige. Because most education systems in our societies believe that university is the universal route to success. To understand the history behind the education system in China, we must look at their standardized testing. China's standardized test is a college requirement for universally all universities in China. It's also known as the Gaokao, or also known as the National Higher Entrance Examination. Over 9 million Chinese students take this test every year. Matter of fact, it's a once a year test. What's a year test? Because if you fail the test and are not satisfied with the score, you have to wait a whole year of preparation to take this test. Since 9 million students are competing for this test, there is psychological stress. They're relying on this test score to validate their worth, because they share a belief that going to the best and prestigious universities allows them the good life. And most importantly of all, they're not learning for the sake of passionate learning. They're learning to pass a test. They're memorizing nuances and formulas and methods just to pass this test and get this good score. It's the same thing about South Korea's testing. South Korea holds this test called the CSAT test, similar to how we say the SAT test, but it's an acronym for College Scholastic Ability Test. South Korea and China share this make or break mentality, this be-all, end-all mentality, that if I don't get into this university, my life is over. Not only that, because there's a standardized test, there's also a wealth inequality in all countries. In China and South Korea, I can guarantee that there's a portion of students who are wealthier, has higher income, and has access to personal tutors, private tutoring services, like we have here in America, like we have Kaplan, Princeton Review, Barron's. And they're immensely psychologically depressed because these students are being validated by this one paper that will determine their whole life. I would like to show you guys 2 short clips of China and South Korea's testing environment. And after you watch these 2 short clips, please tell me what you think about the environment and these education systems. The first clip is I would say, a nutshell of what China's test is like. And the second is a perspective as a student in South Korea. Next, I will show you the second clip, student in South Korea.
Preparing for the CSAT test or Sonon, an exam that will determine her future.
한국은 주변 사람들이 열심히 하니까 자기도 옆에 사람만큼 열심히 해야겠다 이런 생각이 너무 드는 것 같아요.
다른 쪽으로 이렇게 확 발돋움하다 보면 그 자체가 삶이 무너진다는 그런 의미로 되는 거죠, 그죠?
South Korean education is the envy of the rest of the world, regularly topping international tests in maths and literacy. And that's because these students study hard. On average, they'll do 15 hours a day.
위험해. 역동적이라면 약간의 위로 올라가는 이런 느낌이잖아. 우리 그 역동적.
It's the first lesson of the day. Some of these kids have been at Hagwons or cram school until 10 or 11.
So, although technical difficulties, what do you guys think about the environment here and environment in China and South Korea? What do you guys think about the make or break mentality they have about passing these exams? Any volunteers? Keep in mind that these South Korean students typically spend on average 15 hours a day. In fact, not 5 days a week. They typically go to school 6 days a week. And they go home around 11 o'clock. Who here has been worried about the SAT or ACT in your life? Who here does not like the SAT or ACT? Let's see. Please keep your hands down, thank you. This make or break mentality for these Chinese and South Korean students is very unhealthy because they believe if they don't get into this university, this prestigious university that determines their success, if not, then their life is over. And there's intense competition for the majority of Chinese and South Korean students to pass this test and get into these universities. Hence why these universities have such low acceptance rates. And it's all routine learning. They all are spending most of their teenager lives passing to memorize a test. Is this the ideal of education where we don't learn, where ideally should be we learn this knowledge, use this knowledge and apply it to the real world and share it amongst each other? But instead, we focus our energy on passing the test? What does this mean about America's education? In America, we normally have the standardized tests, the SAT and the ACT. The SAT was initially created to provide an equal playing field for all students to apply to universities. Before, only wealthy and higher income families could get into these such universities. But now, SAT's framework is not suitable for today's education system because there's a wealth inequality just like in China and South Korea. There are a portion of students who have better access to tutoring services and preparation. How can we have this wealth inequality affecting our education system and not all of our students can get ready? Kaplan has prices starting at least $900 to be with an expert teacher. Princeton Review guarantees better scores and better grades. Barron says they're the leader in test preparation and it will lead you to success. And other test prep services say they'll change your score and change your life. This reinforces the major emphasis and weight on students trying to get to these elite colleges. Hence why students are going to college, there's a popularization of the bachelor's degree. And students are going to college as seen as the new common route. We see hard work. If we work hard in high school, we could get into college we want to go. Our dream college. And if we could get to our dream college, we'll be successful. But in reality, there's socioeconomic issues within our lives. Everyone has a different financial circumstance that prevents them to access the well-needed services to prepare them for the real world. Hard work, instead, it promotes routine learning. We focus our energy to pass, to memorize the tests, but we don't absorb any substance off our education system. And during entering college, we incur this financial risk of gathering all these student loans because college is becoming more popular every year. And because of routine learning, there's a lack of experience. We're not learning to use our skills practically to the real world. Instead, we're just learning theories and concepts. We should understand college, what college really is about. We should understand the determinant factors that make up our applications to colleges. We should understand the potential costs we might incur from attending college. And we should know what to expect after attending college and attaining your degree. We should mitigate these college costs, lessen these costs. Understand there's alternative options. There's community college, a heavily underrated opportunity where students can have a quality education at an affordable price and can transfer to another university. We need to become responsible for our student loans. There are a majority of students currently in college that are not financially literate. They are not aware of what financial danger they might incur. And we should understand the aid options, the scholarship options, not just before applying to college, but even during college. When we learn concepts and theories inside the classroom, but we should push this off by being outside the classroom and apply this academic knowledge to the real world. We should have this healthy circulation of academic and practical knowledge to have both ends of the spectrum. This is Miss Allender and her students. She's combining knowledge with the real world. In her high school psychology class, she is teaching these students about the chemicals that process in our brain. But not only that, she pushes these students to come out of the classroom and visit forensics labs and learn about issues like drug abuse. This, in turn, compels these students to work together as a team. And this ultimately creates versatility. Having this academic and practical knowledge, having the knowledge and the tool set to really critically think. Drexel University has a similar foundation of what I'm trying to push. They are trying to push these internship programs where students can learn inside the classroom and outside the classroom. They are able to have at least a 6-month internship with their interest of study. Northeastern University does this the same way, where it allows students to take internships within their student program. Now, I'm not saying don't go to college. Don't go to college because college is too expensive. You should go to a vocational program because it ensures that job. I'm not saying don't go to Drexel University and go to Northeastern University because we need that experience and academic knowledge. But what I am saying is that we should keep pushing forward this idea of versatility. Because with this practical and academic knowledge behind our back and in our tool set, we could truly critically think. We could be more versatile with our knowledge. And by being able to think critically, we can apply these rules to the real world. And ultimately can share ideas amongst each other. Instead of routinely learning to pass a test, to just get into the gateway of prestigious colleges and whatnot. We should focus on ourselves, not go to these colleges for the sake of others, but learn the skills needed that are beneficial to ourselves. Because we are today's future. And without today's future, we won't have a beneficial and working society. Thank you.